in my head, I was like, is this a fake ring? Like, I know this is not how I'm getting proposed to.
She said, are you serious?
I wasn't gonna like say no, because like at the end of the day, I wanted to marry this chump that didn't know how to propose.
I look back and I'm like, I think I botched that.
Not the best proposal of all time.
That was Chad and Ashley, two of my very favorite people in this world. And on today's episode, they're sharing their love story with us. I've known Chad for about 8 years and Ashley too. Chad and I played on a basketball team, and Ashley and their son Milo would cheer us on from the sidelines. But it wasn't until about a year ago that I asked Chad and Ashley to share their story with me. My idea was that by listening to married couples that have made that commitment with one another, I might actually, and possibly you, learn something from their story. So without further ado, here's Chad and Ashley's love story.
I want to say I was like 25, 26, and I was single.
I don't even know if I was even ready for a relationship at the time. I think I was just kind of having fun.
I was at a winery with like a few of my friends, and we were just like having fun. And my best friend, like without me knowing, took my phone, downloaded Tinder, and like created a profile for me.
Back then, it was kind of like, it was just starting up, I think. It was like in its process of what it is now.
And we were like swiping, you know, like whatever. I was like, this is fun. But I was like, no, I'm not dating someone on an app.
I was really wasn't looking for anybody.
I literally am in like my mid-20s. I have nothing to lose. So I was like, what if I do like, what if I go on a date? You know, whatever.
I don't even know what she wrote. I didn't even look down at her profile picture like, oh yeah, let me see what this is about, what that is about. I didn't care. I was like, oh, hey, she's pretty. Let me click on this girl.
We can skip that part.
But also, she had her family in there. And I'm huge on family, like huge on family. Like
hearing him talk about his family and like how he's very close to his family, how he cares for his family. He's like, he always said, you know, anything happens to my brother, like I'm taking him in. If any, you know, like I knew how serious he was about his family.
It meant a lot for me to see that on her profile.
And we matched or whatever.
A couple weeks go by. We're chatting every day.
I'll never forget. We like met at a coffee shop, which is like pretty cliche, but also like pretty safe if you're going to meet someone online.
I was like, okay, that's a cool date and like situation.
I was at the point where I was like, oh, whatever, like another date. I'm sure he's going to be like not who he says he is or whatever.
I got my little plaid shirt on. I got my little jeans on. I'm trying to look spiffy.
And I was like, oh, like he's not bad.
First few questions, we sit down, we start talking. She pays for my coffee.
He paid. Yes, he did pay.
I'm like getting my card out, like scrambling the last like $20 I got.
I paid on many dates since then.
So I'm sitting there like, she did not just pay for our first date right here.
But now I feel like he owes me a coffee if he believes that I paid.
I don't go to Starbucks. Like, I've never been to Starbucks before. So I'm like, what the hell do I get? Like, what am I getting? She's like, oh, I'm going to get a Frappuccino. I was like, yeah, let me get one of those too. Like, I didn't know what I think it was like a matcha tea frap or something random. 3 drops of orange juice or something random. 3 drops of, I don't know. You know how people get the 3 tap cap? I don't know what that is. I've never had coffee. I don't drink coffee. I've never drank coffee. Still don't drink coffee. And she's getting all this. I was like, wait, what is this thing? Like, I don't even know what this is. She's like, just try it. Tried it. Oh, wow.
And I was like, oh, he's nice. Like we had coffee together. We sat.
It was so fun. And I don't think we spent more than maybe an hour together that time that we met.
It wasn't this like, oh my gosh, best date I've ever had in my whole life. It was just like a wholesome, I met this really great guy. He seemed down to earth and he seemed to want what I wanted. And again, it was like one date. So I'm not going to say it was like, oh my gosh, like, but I was just like, oh wait, this is someone I want to see again.
If you fast forward about a month.
This is where I feel like we have different versions of this story.
I remember I got this big text message.
So I was like, what are we doing? Where is this going? Very casual.
Like this, I'm not joking. This is the biggest paragraph. I don't think iPhone's going to handle that back then.
His side of the story was like, oh my gosh, you were like asking me to marry you. And I was like, no.
It was just like, it came in 2 separate messages. Now you could just get one long message, right? So this is how long that was ago, people.
I wasn't asking for a proposal. I was just like, basically like, do I need to delete my Tinder app or like, you know?
She was like basically saying, hey, like, what are we doing? Like, are we together? I don't sit in this middle.
But he was like, no, we're serious, whatever. So I did ask, which I thought was a casual question, but his version's different.
It was like we're boyfriend and girlfriend or we're something. but it wasn't nothing. It wasn't just like this pretend stuff. It was real.
So we met in November.
We went to Santa Barbara. We went on different trips.
We went places.
This is where everybody was like, you're in love with her, or like, this is real.
We were definitely on the same page and we were having a lot of fun.
But I think I knew I loved her at that moment. I was just like, all right, this is it. This is the girl.
And like, I don't know if there was like a specific moment, which I feel like that's true for a lot of things and events that happen in our relationship. Like, it wasn't like one moment.
Those new experiences for me personally were things that made my feelings go stronger for her, because it was stuff that I've never done before. She's taken me out of my element.
It was just like all the stories that he told from his family and all the interactions he had with my family. And then, of course, like how he cared for me, like when we would go out and things like that. I was like, okay, like this is someone that I know will take care of me and will also care about my family. So like I would say like those moments were like it for me.
I feel like I didn't have the job I wanted. I didn't have the experiences that I wanted.
He was the one who was more like, you know, I want to be in a financial position. I want this.
I wanted to have extra money saved up in the bank account to pay for the wedding. And
he wanted the perfect time. And I was more of the understand, like there isn't like there really is never going to be a perfect time.
That's when I was like, well, she's obviously not here for the money because I don't have it. But two, like I wasn't there for the money either. And I was like, let's just figure this out then.
And then honestly, like I feel like our story from like year 1 to like 3 just kind of was there. Like there's nothing like there wasn't any crazy big event. There wasn't this like huge romantic thing. It just was like we were there.
So I'm super old school. I'm what we call old school, right? It doesn't have to be, but I am. I go and ask her mom in her hand for marriage. And I was like, hey, look, like I'm trying to marry your daughter. Like, can I like get your blessing? And she was like, well, first you got to know what you're getting yourself into. So I'm not joking. She's like, you got to know what you're getting yourself into. Do you know she does this and this and this and that? And I was like, of course, I've been with her for so long.
He will bring it up a lot, but like, I was like, when we get married, these are the rings that I want.
This woman wanted a Princess Diamond cut.
So I would like send him pictures and like give him quizzes. Like, do I want this one or this one?
My wife hates rose gold or any gold color.
I was like, but I'm also going to have to look this ring on my hand every day for the rest of my life. So let's focus.
I did that. Come back, get it all done. I'm setting up the engagement, the proposal.
I love him to pieces. He's my best friend and soulmate, but he's like the least romantic person I know.
Actually, according to her, did not know any of this was going down.
Both of our families were all here for Christmas. His whole family had flown out. And I'm like, well, if we're going to get engaged, this is the perfect moment, right? Our whole family is here. It's beautiful. Christmas comes and goes. His family leaves. I was like, oh, I guess we're not getting engaged right now, you know?
What's that name of the place? It's a garden there. And I forget the name. We went there a couple of times. Descanso Gardens. Went to Descanso Gardens.
The idea, according to Chad, was to propose there with my family present, this beautiful moment. That sounds like a great story.
The time of the year we were going is January, and roses don't grow at that time of the year.
So apparently it wasn't nice enough.
It's dry over there. It's dry over there. It's nothing pretty. So I'm like, I wanted this to be like where you're looking at a corn maze and you got like this beautiful like guy hanging out this ring. I got my nice dress outfit on.
That was not my story.
So I did end up doing it.
We get home.
My wife, I'm not joking, gets in her PJs.
Lying down in bed.
In my head, I'm like, this will work because this is what we love doing. We love sitting and watching TV.
If you were decided between like a dead garden and a beautiful garden, maybe. But like your decision was like a dead garden or a bed in my ugly pajamas. I was like, okay, Chad.
And then she was like, Chad, I really need my ring cleaned.
Because one of my rings was like tarnishing or so. I was like, oh, I just need to get a new ring. I'm going to take this one off. This one isn't working.
And I said, okay, I'll give you a new ring.
In my head, I was like, is this a fake ring? Like, I know this is not how I'm getting proposed to.
She said, are you serious?
I wasn't going to like say no because like at the end of the day, I wanted to marry this chump that didn't know how to propose.
I look back and I'm like, I think I botched that.
Not the best proposal of all time. But like at the end of the day, like he was like, it's just like, that's what we love doing. Just hanging out and relaxing.
It wasn't like spectacular, but it was still something true out of my heart.
1,010% not Instagram worthy, but like a lot of our life, like, is it, you know, like we mentioned, like our house, we have a toddler. It's kind of a mess. Like it just like it is what it is. And like, but like I wouldn't trade that for anything. Like I'm so obsessed with our life. Like, and I think like I loved him before. Despite the proposal. But like seeing him as a dad now, like seeing him like that's everything. I'm like, if I could only love you more.
When you want to live with somebody and you want to be with them, things are easy.
I was like, everything I did leading up to this, like all the questions I asked you in that first year that you thought were a little too soon, like I feel like it led up to this point where like we got to have the life that we wanted. And I feel like very, very lucky for. And like, I will take a crap proposal any day to get where we are. So yeah.
It's so great to hear different stories of love. Again, the point of these videos is hear from married couples that have made that commitment in hopes that maybe you and I might learn something from their story. Also too, I have to have a huge shout out for Ashley. When I shot this video with them, I coordinated it through Chad. When I showed up to their house, and Ashley was not aware that that was going on. She was pregnant at the time, and Chad didn't fill her in on everything we were gonna do. So Ashley rolled with it. She had some doctor's appointments she literally had to go to in the middle of her recording, but she was a trooper and she told her story so well. And I can't thank them, Milo, Carter enough for taking time out of their schedule to do this with me. All right, thank you so much. That does it for this episode. And until next time, keep your heart open for love.